When I find true love, I will be saved. This statement is very wrong because this statement is based on the hoping that your present will change when something happens in the future. A great deal of suffering we inflict upon ourselves involves relationships, especially romantic relationships, and that we can never be happy without them. But in reality, we often allow relationships to pull us away from the present moment, which causes us to suffer. If you are not happy with who you truly are, not through mind identification, then how you operate in a relationship is going to come from that place. Relationships can be devastating if it doesn't come from a pure place. The ego is insecure and constantly wants to identify itself with external things that has ultimately nothing to do with who you truly are. It gets a sense of who you are by associating with external things such as your social role, possessions, physical appearances, successes and failures, belief systems, and so on. But in reality, nothing is ever enough to give it lasting fulfillment. The fear, the neediness, the lack of sense of fulfillment remains. But then, one day, that special relationship comes along. It seems like it is the answer to all of the ego's problems and being able to meet all of its needs. At least, that's how it appears at first. All the things you tried to associate with before for a sense of self now becomes relatively insignificant. You now have a single focal point that replaces them all, gives meaning to your life, and through which you identify your identity, the person you are in love with. It seems like you are no longer a disconnected fragment from an uncaring universe. Your world now has a center, a loved one. It seems like the features of the egoic mind have disappeared. The fear, the neediness, the sense of lack of fulfillment are no longer there. But are they really gone? The truth is, they actually continue to live underneath the happy surface. If in your relationship you experience love and hate, it is ego attachment and addictive clinging and not really love. You love your significant other one moment and attack him or her the next. The relationship is not rooted from true love, but rather a strong ego need for a more complete and deeper sense of self. A need that the other person temporarily meets. Eventually, your partner behaves in ways that stops meeting your sense of needs of your ego. Let me tell you a personal story. So I met a girl who in my opinion is pretty cute on my first day at work. Funny thing is, the girl was new in town and wanted to see more of what California has to offer. Seems like the perfect opportunity to show her around and get to know her better. As the days went on, I slowly became more and more attracted to her, which resulted into a situation where I kept thinking about her 90% of the time while doing day-to-day things. I would think about how my life would feel fulfilled if I would be in a relationship with someone like her. Then one morning, I was reading the book The Power of Now, and a switch went on in my head. I realized that all these past days, all I have been doing is thinking about one single person, hoping that they would change my future and how I would feel fulfilled. And because of that, I feared that she might reject me. But in reality, whether she would say yes or no, it would not make any difference at all, since nothing is ever enough for the ego's needs. Most people enter a relationship to fill an inner void, something they feel that is missing in their lives. When they are in love with a person, especially in the early stages, that person fills their voids. But later on in the relationship, things start to surface up, the things that they don't like about the other person. Now that person that once filled their voids is no longer able to do that. It was only a temporary solution. The love relationship that seems so perfect at first turns into a love-hate relationship, where the love often gets disrupted as arguments, conflicts, dissatisfaction, and emotional or even physical violence that occurs with increasing frequency. Affection turns on and off like a light switch. It is only a matter of time until the relationship falls into pieces. This seems to be a normal thing in most relationships. Love-hate relationships are really like a drug addiction. When that person does fill that inner void, it feels amazing like a high. But even thinking about the possibility that one day that person would not be there for them anymore to fill this inner void, it induces a fear of loss, resulting in possessiveness and jealousy that will turn into manipulative attempts through emotional blackmail to ensure their drug stays available to them. When the person does leave, this can arise the most intense hostility, grief, and despair. In an instance, love becomes a savage attack or dreadful grief. So, where is the love now? Or was it rather just an addictive clinging? Every addiction arises from an unconscious refusal to face and move on through your own pain. Every addiction starts with pain and ends with pain. That is why, after the initial euphoria has passed, there is so much unhappiness and so much pain in intimate relationships. It's not that the relationship causes pain and unhappiness, but rather that they bring out the pain and unhappiness that is already within you. Every addiction does that. Every addiction reaches a point where it does not work for you anymore, and then you feel the pain more intensely than ever. You might think, what if all the negatives in the relationships were gone? Wouldn't it be perfect? But the reality is, there cannot be one thing without the opposite. There will always be ups and downs. The positives of a relationship comes with the negatives of a relationship. However, true love doesn't have ups and downs, because all of it comes from within. Enlightened relationships. In order to transition from an addictive relationship to an enlightened relationship rooted from true love, you have to disassociate with the mind and connect with the now. You first have to stop judging yourself, followed up by the complete acceptance of your partner for who they truly are, without having to judge or change them. There will be no more victim and no more attacker, and no more accuser and accused, no more addictive clinging. You will then either separate while being in love or move deeper into the now together. Yes, even when you are not together with that person, you can still be in love with them. Love is a state of being. It is something that is within you. You can never lose it and it can never leave you. It is not dependent on an external form like another person. However, love is not exclusive. Exclusive love is not love from being, but rather love from ego. Love is the realization of oneness. Within you, there is already love for everything around you, but it just differs in intensity in which it is felt. Deep within you, you love everything and everyone. The love for a bird, the love for a flower, it is the same love. Although there may be one person who reflects your love back to you more clearly and intensely than others, and that person feels the same about you. This would then be called a romantic relationship. Whenever you are in a romantic relationship and it is not working out, don't try to transform yourself, and especially not your partner. But what you can do is to create a space for transformation to happen, for love and grace to enter. Everything you don't like about your partner are also the things you don't like about yourself. Your partner is not there to make you happy or fulfilled. He or she is there to make you more conscious about yourself. And this will make you find salvation. Know when you or your partner are feeling angry, jealous, defensiveness, the urge to argue, the need to be right, or any kind of emotional pain. Know the reality of these feelings, but don't react to it. Bring light and not darkness. Be the knower and not the reactor. Do not accuse each other for being unconscious. The ego is in charge when you start to blame. Whenever you point something out to your partner about their behavior, make sure you do it in a non-judging way. However, you don't need your partner to be enlightened for you to be enlightened. Ultimately, what matters is whether you are enlightened or not. When you are the enlightened person in the relationship, it will be a great challenge, not for you, but for your partner. It is not easy to live with an enlightened person since the ego finds this extremely threatening. The relationship crisis. As most people become increasingly more identified with their mind, more egoic, most relationships are not rooted in being, so it becomes a source of pain dominated by problems and conflict. Millions of people are living alone or as single parents, unable to establish an intimate relationship because they are not willing to repeat the insane drama from past relationships. Others go from one relationship to another, from one cycle of pleasure and pain to another, in search for the elusive goal of fulfillment through an intimate relationship. Every crisis also represents opportunity aside from danger. The complete avoidance of relationship is just as insane as the complete obsession of relationships. When the opportunity for a relationship arises, you shouldn't back away from it, nor should you obsessively search for true love in order to find happiness and a sense of fulfillment. Just like my story that I've shared earlier, I've realized that I will still feel this inner void within me, and no external source will ever be able to fill this. The only way to fill this inner void is when I disassociate with my mind and connect with the now and be free from the ego. If you cannot be at ease with yourself when you are alone, you will not be able to be in ease in a relationship. Was this information an eye-opener for you like it was for me? Or you want to learn more about enlightened relationships and how to access the power of the present moment? Then I highly recommend you to read the book The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. You can find an Amazon affiliate link in the description down below. In order to improve yourself every day, it is important to expose yourself to high quality information that you can get from books. But with so many distractions nowadays like social media, Netflix, and video games, it requires a lot of willpower and focus to grab a book and actually read it. If you are one of these people, I highly recommend you to start listening to audiobooks. With the audible.com mobile app, you can plug in earphones and expose yourself to books while doing day-to-day things such as chores, walking, traveling, working out, and even while playing video games. We at Self-Improvement have teamed up with Audible to bring you a special offer to try Audible. Click on the link in the description below and sign up for a free trial and get your first 2 audiobooks for free. If you end up disliking the service, you can cancel it at any time and the audiobooks are yours to keep. Have you been in love or been in a relationship where you thought it was true love, but in reality it was just an addictive clinging induced by egoic needs? It would be awesome if you would be able to share it down in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for more self-improvement videos.